Okay, the game controller does half of what we wanted to do, but the other half is we wanted to have a countdown timer. So we'll need to put something onto the canvas here. That's our canvas. And we'll want to put the timer up here. So I'm going to add another text box. I'm going to call this timer box. Okay, I want to put this up in the top right corner. So as we did before, holding the Alt and the Shift, bring it up there, and then just move it down a little bit. Across. So I'm going to make this 35, which was the font size before, which means we need to expand the text box a bit. Let's get it all in. And it's going to say something like time left, so 60. We can decide what's the length of the game. Okay, so that matches the one on the other side, really. Okay, so now we want to make the script count down from whatever time we want to put it in. Our game control object. So I'm going to put a reference to, okay, I have put in fact, we're using the user interface. Remember, that's important. I'm going to put a reference to the text. And that's going to be the timer box. Now, we're going to need some more private now there's a clock inside the program which ticks very rapidly, and it gives the time, the current time since the game started, in terms of seconds and parts of a second, so it's a floating point number, and we're just interested in taking the seconds. We're not interested in tenths, hundreds or thousandths of a second, just the seconds. And I'm going to put another private variable, which is going to be the int type, which is going to be time left. Okay, so when we start the game, we're going to capture the actual time since the game started, which is not going to be 0. So just in here, I'm going to put in start time equals, so access is the time system, and the current time is time.time. Okay. Now in the update function, we're going to update the timing. So I'm going to put in another int here. So this is elapsed time, and I'm only interested in the time in seconds that have elapsed. So I'm going to take the math function, which is floor to int, which goes down to the number below and chops off all the decimal parts of it. And we're going to get the time again, so this is the current time, and we're going to take away the start time. So we take the current time away from the start, take the start time away from the current time, and then reduce it to an integer, so that's just the seconds. And now we can update the time left. equals, okay, we're going to put something else in here, so another public one. This is going to be a whole number. I'm going to call this game time. We'll make it that to default of, say, 60, so it will give us 60 seconds. And in the start, we're going to give it that game time. So timer box dot text equals time left, and then we're going to add on our game time. So that should give the initial value. So time left now is the game time minus elapsed time. And we'll update the timer box. Okay, so that should update it by the second. Now, what we're concerned about here is what happens when time left is 0. So we want to end the game at that point. So we're going to put in another condition here. Now we want to test if time left is equal to 0. All programming languages in the C family, including C#, use the double equal sign to test equality. If you only use one equal sign, then it makes it equal to 0, and we don't want that to happen. Okay, so that's the condition. We're going to put some more things in here, but for the moment we're going to put game over equals true. So the game will be over at that point. Now we don't want the timer to go below 0, so we actually want to stop it updating after that. So I'm going to add another line in here. So if the game is over, return. Right. So in other words, if the game is over, we'll just get out of this function straight away. So there'll be no more counting down from there. Right. Notice here I haven't bothered with the curly brackets around because we've only got one result of testing this condition, so we don't really need it. Okay, let's test that. Okay, it seems to be happy. Let's go back to Unity, and if we have a look at our game controller, once it goes through, it should ask us about our timer box. There we go. So I'll drag a reference to this timer box here into there. Let's just test it with a very quick game of 10 seconds. So I'm going to put 10 in there, and we'll try it. It should now run for 10 seconds. Oops, catching apples, and the timer is going down. It's 3 seconds, and the apples have stopped spawning. Okay, good. The next thing we have to do really is to tell the user that that's the end of the game, and perhaps give them an opportunity to play again.